Time is not money. I know, right? You must have heard people say, hurry up, time is money. In a short while, I'm going to prove that to you, that time really is not money. I will be talking to you about what time really is, the correlation with money, and I'll be educating you on time management as a skill, the most important skill on becoming successful. Hello and welcome to this episode of Teens Republic here on AnaedoTV. My name is Gwacham Chidiogo. This is that show where we get to talk about everything teenagers, the challenges they have. Here, I inspire them because I believe in teenagers and young people. If you are a parent, you are a teen coach or mentor, you are a teacher, secondary school teacher, or you have a teenager living around you, this is also that show for you. Here, you will learn how best to communicate and relate with them. And together, we can all raise exceptional teenagers that our nation and God will be proud of. Teenagers that will make us all proud. This is Teens Republic. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the show. Now, let me ask you a quick question. If someone walks up to you today and makes you an offer of $1 million and you ask, what do I need to do? And the person says, okay, you don't need to do much other than losing your life today. Will you accept that offer? Now, I want you to type in the chat if you will or will not, because I want to know why you would or will not accept that offer. But if you are human, like most people will reject that offer. And that is because even subconsciously, rather unconsciously, we know that our time is much more valuable than money. Now, let me ask you a second question. If you are terminally ill, now, not you, just someone you know is terminally ill, and a research company comes up to you and makes you an offer. They have manufactured a drug, though it's still on testing. They feel it could, the word is could, cure that terminal illness. And they said that the money, that it's worth $1 million, and you have it. Will you buy that drug, even though you know that there's a possibility that drug could not cure that illness? Now, from these two scenarios, we can deduce that time is more valuable than money. Having worked with teens for over 9 years, there is just something that keeps standing out in my conversations with them, and that is the fact that it's all overwhelming. I was speaking to a young girl last week and she said, it's everything is overwhelming. There's schoolwork, there's classwork, there's homework, there's chores, there is just things from all around the place. And she just feels so overwhelmed. And if you are in this generation, you will notice that there's so much things going on around. There's distractions here and there from social media, from the internet. And having management skills, time management skills, is something that every teenager who chooses, I'm specific about the word choose because it's in your hand to choose whether you want to be successful or not. If you choose to be successful, then managing your time is a must. I'm going to be sharing with you shortly the tips with which you can manage your time so that you can be efficient and productive. Tip number 1, set clear goals. Setting clear goals is about knowing what you want and being specific about it. It was Zigzagler that said, if you aim at nothing, you will hit your target. And that is to say that if you don't have a goal, you don't have a vision, there's nothing you're working towards, you will just realize that every day will just come and go. Every day will come and go without you being productive. So set clear goals. You may have heard the term SMART goals. Your goals have to be specific. For example, I want to write a book this year. You have to be specific about that goal. Then your goals have to be measurable. You have to measure. It has to be goals that can be measured. Okay, take for instance, you can say, okay, I'm writing 1 chapter a month. 1 chapter a month. And it has to be attainable and achievable. You don't have to pack everything in your schedule and just stuff yourself up that at the end of the day, you become so stressed, and probably the stress will bring about anxiety because there is just so much going on with you. So your goals have to be achievable, attainable. Then your goal also has to be relevant. Take for instance, if you are writing a book on self-esteem for young girls, maybe it has to tie to your bigger goal of helping young girls become better at their self-esteem or learning their self-worth. So writing that book could just be your step towards getting or attaining that broader goal. And then you have to make sure that your goals are time-bound. You have to set a time to it. In 1 day, in a week, in 7 days, in 1 month, in 1 year. Your goals have to be time-bound. So just make sure that you set clear goals. I heard a story of a man who was riding on a horse, and the horse was just, he was so fast. The horse was just moving so fast. And then someone caught up to him and asked him, "Hello, young man, where are you going?" And then he just screamed. He said, "I don't know. Please ask the horse." You know, sometimes most of us, every day just comes and goes. There is nothing you're working on. There is no project. There is no vision. You're just sleeping and waking. You are misusing your most valuable asset in life, and that is your time. William Penn made a quote, and it's something that I love so much. He said that time is the thing we need the most, yet the thing we use the worst. So set clear goals. Number 2, limit distractions. We are in a time where there are so many distractions coming at us from everywhere, especially if you're a young person. Recently, I was in a place and I took notice of what was happening. I had to take shade in a store. It happened that there was this young lady. It was in a beer parlor, and she was attending. She was the attendant there, and it was raining. So there was this man that sat and was waiting to be served, but she was on her phone. She was glued to her phone, but I was just observing. The man called for her to be served, and she stood up. She was pressing her phone, and she kept pressing her phone, and she walked up to the man's table and just asked him, while still looking at the phone, "What do I serve you, sir?" And then man said, "Just get me a bottle of beer." And then she turns, and then she walks straight to the freezer while still pressing her phone. And then she goes to the freezer, reaches out for the handle, her eyes glued to the phone, and she opens the freezer, picks out a bottle, and walks straight to the table where the man was seated and just drops the bottle, and then turns back and goes back to her seat. And then the man called her attention the second time and said, "Hello, young girl, I need a glass cup." And then she stands up again with her phone glued, with her eyes glued to her phone. And then she walks again to a place and then picks the glass cup and then walks like that to the man and then drops the glass cup. The man had to call her attention the 3rd time and reminded her that she has not brought him an opener. That is how much young people are addicted to social media, to the internet. If you are not careful, in fact, I was telling a group of young people, I said, there are people that their work is just so that you do not drop your phone. They are behind the scenes so that you do not drop your phone. Imagine you go to Google and you type in a word search. For instance, you type in comedy and you just watch a skit. You'll be surprised. and that happened in Google. If you open your Facebook, you'll be surprised. All the things that they will be suggesting to you will be skit related, will be comedy related. If you open your YouTube, you start watching comedy videos. If you open your Instagram, if you open your TikTok, everything, it's how the algorithm works. And these are business people that are very particular. That is why you hop from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. Have you noticed that most times young people, when they're on TikTok, you just keep flipping, you see their hands just keeps doing, like almost all social media apps, you notice you have to flip, and then you keep flipping 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and most times 8 to 10 hours gone from a 24-hour day without you doing nothing. So you have to make sure that you limit distractions. How can you do this? You have to set clear goals. If you're using social media, then you have to put a time into it. You can decide to use 1 hour every day on social media, and you just make sure that you stick to that 1 hour, because if you don't, you will notice that at some point you become addicted, and you would notice that you will spend all your time doing things that don't really matter, things that don't really matter to your vision, things that don't really matter to the goals and where you are planning to get to in life. So just limit your distractions. And then tip number 3, have routines. We are habitual beings. Have you noticed that you brush your teeth the same way? If you are 18 years, you've been brushing your teeth the same way for the past 17 years. And that is because we are beings of habit. Routines will help you properly manage your time. Now imagine every day you wake up in the morning, you begin to ask yourself questions. What do I have to do today? What do I have to wear? Where is my shoes? What are the things I'm supposed to do? By doing that, you are creating, in fact, you are stressing yourself. You are bringing about stress and anxiety, as opposed to waking up before you even wake up. You already have the things you're supposed to do for that day clearly written down in nuggets, point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4. Okay, for today, I am going to do this. I'm going to read for 1 hour. I'm going to spend 1 hour doing this. Once I wake up in the morning, I'm going to exercise for 15 minutes. If you plan yourself like that, if you have that kind of routine, you will notice that you become less stressed. And mental health issues is one of the challenges young people are facing these days. We are hearing news of young people being depressed, having anxiety, and some of these are caused by stress and the way they are being bombarded with things from social media, from school, and all of that. So please create routines, have routines. And here we are going to be drawing the curtain for today on today's episode. What have you learned today? What stood out for you in today's episode? I would love to read your chat. I would love to hear what you have to say about that. Have you been having issues managing your time? Do you have further questions? Please put that in the chat. I will be there to read your comments. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate you. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you can also get notified whenever we post an episode. And make sure you follow us on all our social media handles at AnaedoTVOfficial. I'll always say this to you. You have a voice. Your voice is powerful. The world will hear your voice and feel your impact. I'll see you next time.